The road to Japan starts right here for South Africa and England. With the World Cup just around the corner, the autumn internationals are a chance for both coaches and players to reveal their final hand ahead of rugby's greatest showdown. And Rassie Erasmus has been doing just that. He has picked a ginormous pack. Dwayne Vermeulen returns from Japan. Siya Kolisi is at flank captaining this side. He's been somewhat of a revelation so far this season. Peter Steff, the hero in New Zealand when South Africa beat New Zealand away, making all those tackles. He's moved into the lock to accommodate former Springbok captain Warren Whiteley. There is experience all throughout that pack. Well, because this test falls outside of the international window, the Springboks are missing Faf de Klerk and Willie Leroux, two huge holes to fill in that backline that'll take on England at Twickenham on Saturday. In for his first ever international start is Damian Willemse. Now that means that the back three is relatively inexperienced, so it all falls down to Aphiwe Dyantyi, a man who has been nominated for World Rugby's Breakthrough Player of the Year. He's had an electrifying season, and now he's turned from being a youngster in the squad to perhaps being someone who knows his way to the try line to try and help look after the young Damian Willemse.
AP, nominated for World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year. You scored your first try as well against England. Almost every kid wants to be you doing the celebration. It's a good time to be a Aphiwe Dyantyi, isn't it?
Yeah. Good time, but I mean, as well, it comes with a great amount of responsibility. Just trying to keep, my feet on the ground and just trying to do what I need to do, to, carry on being part of the team and, enjoying my rugby.
And you say enjoying your rugby. I mean, every video we see on Twitter, every time, you look like a kind of guy that you've just always got a smile on your face. You are loving life at the moment, aren't you, in the Springbok camp? I mean, what is it that's driving you? Has this been a dream for you for a long time?
I think for any kid, in South Africa growing up, especially me coming from a background, of a rugby family, having played rugby from a very young age, having that privilege. Obviously growing up, I had that fantasy of one day playing for the Springboks. And I mean, when you get that opportunity and you get that honor to represent your country, you kind of do everything, to kind of, preserve that, and, I mean, represent your country in the best way you can and just try and enjoy those moments, because not everyone gets that opportunity. And when you do, you've just got to make sure that you make the best of every moment. And,
you spoke about there coming from a rugby family. I mean, you didn't play first team, did you? You gave up.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it was a blessing in disguise for me because it was a very critical time when I was doing my matric year. My marks weren't that great, so I mean, that really gave me time to really focus on the academic side. And I mean, by virtue of that, getting good marks, I got the opportunity to go in and further my studies in varsity. And, call it nature, call it, luck, call it, I mean, just God, just blessing me. I mean, I found my way back into rugby and, I've never really looked back ever since.
And we did a big feature on our show a couple of weeks ago about the Gwijo squad and the changing face of South African rugby. And there's a video of you even dancing outside the hotel. Do you guys feel responsible for the way you've changed? I mean, I can't think of a South African team that has been this popular as long as I can remember. Do you feel responsible that are you aware that the whole face of South African rugby is changing by your guys' actions?
Probably not as much as it is. But definitely, I've noticed. I mean, you get a lot of messages as well from the guys. But I think as well, a lot of the guys in the Gwijo squad, I know them personally. Some of the guys I went to school with, I played with some of the guys, and just some of the guys I know them from back home. So there's a real personal feel in terms of, knowing the guys, in terms of relating to the guys. And that's why maybe, for example, in that video, you saw me probably like part of the video. And I mean, coming from, my background and culture, I'm closer, and mainly the people in the Gwijo squad, they are closer. And part of my culture is just, it's a tradition to sing when, I mean, you going up against something, when you're celebrating, when you're mourning, you know, it's all part of our culture, you know. So I mean, to see the people doing that, and I mean, for me, I mean, just being part of that as well, I mean, it's a great honor as well, and just fun, man. And you know, it just makes you one with, you know, who you really are and just where you come from.
Well, it's been a remarkable season. There's been ups and there's been downs. That New Zealand game away, you've probably been asked a million times about it. There were a lot of people at home crying in front of the TV. Peter Steff was crying on the TV camera straight away. What happened in the changing room straight after? Were there guys crying?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very emotional, history-making moment, you know, for the guys. You know, just to be a part of that, you know, I mean, it's a moment that I'll forever cherish for the rest of my life, you know. But in the same vein, you know, it just goes to show how much work this team has really put in. And as you said, I mean, the mood like in the team, how much it has changed, and how we are continuing, you know, to strive for more success, and as well understanding that, you know, we still need to build. There's the bigger picture, which is next year's World Cup, and as well even past that. I mean, if you look at, I mean, the guys that are in the team, you know, there are a lot of guys that are under 25, you know, and I think that bids very well, I mean, for our country and for the sport and for our team going forward.
Okay, so Rassie Erasmus has picked a larger-than-life Springbok pack. There are holes and concerns in the backline. We've heard everything we need to hear from the Springbok camp. Eddie Jones has said South Africa are a simple team to beat. We shall see if that is correct on Saturday. Easier said than done, I'm sure. Let's head over to the home of English rugby, where Oliver Regan is standing by with all the latest from England.
Yes, you join me from a very wet and windy Twickenham. Perfect seasonal conditions for these autumn internationals, you might say, but there's no sign of Eddie Jones and his England squad. They're still in Portugal at a warm weather training camp, lucky for some. Now, Jones has made some big calls against for this massive fixture against the Springboks. Mainly it concerns his two co-captains. Very unusual for England, but they've got two captains from now on. Firstly, Dylan Hartley is back in the side. He replaces Jamie George at hooker, showing that Hartley really still is a key part of Eddie Jones's plans. And then the other co-captain, Owen Farrell, he's of course played mainly at centre for England under Jones. Well, he's now back at fly half. That's the position he plays for his club side, Saracens. Now, aside from that, Ben Teo is going to be playing at centre. He's only played 30 minutes of rugby this season for his club side, so not a lot of miles in the legs. And England have also got a lot of inexperience on the back row, the likes of Brad Shields and Mark Wilson, Tom Curry as well. Not a lot of experience there, so they're going to come under immense pressure from the Springboks. It's a huge encounter. Twickenham is going to be buzzing ahead of this one, and Eddie Jones and his men know they need to get off to a good start if they're going to have a successful autumn international period.